Hi guys, it's Tasha. Happy Thanksgiving. Well, tomorrow was going to be my 4th week pregnancy update, but as the video says, it is not going to be. I'm just going to kind of briefly talk about what's been going on this past week and what I've been going through and how I've been dealing with it. So, like in my last video, I had mentioned that we were going to wait to tell our family and friends until after Christmas or around that time frame. But we decided over the weekend to tell them that we were expecting, and they were excited and thrilled, and they were congratulating us, and it was just a great weekend. I was feeling nauseous and dizziness and just tired, like a typical early pregnancy symptom. And then Monday morning, I was supposed to go in for blood work. And I get there Monday, and I get the blood drawn, and I wasn't supposed to find out until the next day, either later that day or the next day, what my results were. But I knew I was pregnant, so I wasn't upset about it. Then that was that morning, and then I went to the grocery store to get stuff for Thanksgiving so I wouldn't have to be fighting the crowds later in the week. And I get home, and about 1:30, 2 o'clock, I went to the bathroom, and this is where the TMI kind of kicks in. But I went to the bathroom, and I noticed some brown discharge. Not a whole lot, but enough to worry me, because I've not experienced that with any of my other pregnancies ever. So I had the discharge, and I started to cry a little bit because I knew immediately something was wrong. I knew that it was bad, and started crying. And then my husband was like, you know what, just calm down. It may not be anything. It may just be old. You just don't know. So just come lay down and relax. So I laid down and took a nap, and I woke up about 4 o'clock. So that was about a 2-hour nap. And I forced myself to eat dinner because when I went to the bathroom after I woke up, I was bleeding a lot. More than a period. A lot of blood. And so I forced myself to eat, and my best friend back home had texted me because I had mentioned earlier to her that I had some brown spotting, and she had texted me and asked if I had any more bleeding, and I was like, yeah, I think I'm losing the baby, because I just knew that it just wasn't good. So we're at the dinner table, and I just, because the amount of blood I had lost, and the fact that I'm anemic, I just knew that I probably should go to the ER. So I went to the ER, and they did some labs, and my HCG levels that day were only at 6. So I woke up, what's more is I woke up that morning before my appointment and took a digital, and the digital came back positive. So I had all the hope in the world that everything was going to be okay, because digitals take a higher HCG amount to read. And so I was positive, everything was normal. I was nauseous that morning, everything. And then by the time I started bleeding, all my symptoms were gone. I didn't have any symptoms left. I was just bleeding. At that time, I was 4 weeks and 2 days, so I was barely pregnant. Most women don't even know they're pregnant at that point, but because we were trying, obviously I knew. I had known for a little over a week that we were expecting. So they told me that my HCG levels were only at 6, and at 4 weeks your levels should be above 100. So that was devastating, and I just broke down. I had been crying off and on during the day, but I knew once I heard it from the doctor that it was just real. So I went home, and I just dealt with it. I just cried all night long. I cried until I don't think I had any more tears that night to cry. Tuesday, I woke up. My husband had to go to work. He couldn't stay home, unfortunately, but I woke up, and I had to get my daughter off to school, and then I had to make sure that they're all fed and taken care of. And then I had to pick my daughter up early to go to her doctor's appointment because 2 weeks prior she had a well check appointment and she failed her hearing test in her right ear, but they had distinguished that it was because there was fluid on her ear. So they gave her some medicine and sent her home and said, hey, come back and we'll redo the test. And so that's what Tuesday was about. We get there and she didn't pass again, but she could hear more than what she heard the last time. So the medicine was helping. But because it wasn't where it needed to be, she has been referred to an ENT for possible tubes, which is a procedure, about a 2-hour procedure, I guess. Now, it's not, it's a big deal when your child has to have a procedure, but it's not a life-threatening procedure. So any other circumstance, I probably wouldn't have cried, but I just couldn't take it. That morning, everything was falling apart. My trash company decided they wanted to take my trash can away. And the little things, just the little things were just adding on top of the miscarriage. And so I broke down at the pediatrician's office, and she just is such a sweet lady. She took me and she consoled me, and she was just very sympathetic and just kind. And after that, I kind of contained myself because I didn't want my children to see me crying, even though they had already been seeing me cry. I just kind of wanted them to know that everything was okay. So after that, I didn't make my daughter go back to school just because I just needed to be with my kids. I had to go to work to do some paperwork because we are moving and I needed to out-process. And then I saw my husband for a minute, and then I told him we were going to go home because I just needed to be home with the kids. But instead of going home, I decided to take them to lunch. So we went to Chick-fil-A so they can play, because even though I was struggling with the loss, my kids needed me to be a mom. And that was my biggest priority, was just to be a mom to my children that were here with me. And so I took them to Chick-fil-A and let them play. And I couldn't, for the life of me, be happy. I couldn't put a smile on my face. I just sat there and I sulked, and I felt horrible because I know that the moms around me could see that something was wrong, and it was hard for me to put a smile on my face while my kids were playing, and that broke my heart even more. And all I wanted was to be with my kids and my husband. And I know the Lord knew that, and so my husband came to Chick-fil-A just randomly with his boss, and so that was a blessing. I got to see my husband for a little bit. I didn't really talk to him because he was there with his boss, and I didn't want his boss to see me crying. So I ended up just sitting there in silence. And when my husband left, my friend came up to me and she talked to me for a minute, and I had to tell her that I lost the baby because she knew as well. And that was heartbreaking, and I try not to cry, but I did. And then this really sweet lady came up to me, pregnant. She's probably about 7 months pregnant, came up to me, and she had tears in her eyes, and she's like, I just want to give you a hug. I don't know, obviously she didn't know what was going on, but she knew something was wrong, and she gave me a hug, and I just lost it. I couldn't contain myself anymore, so I ended up just holding on to her and just crying for a good minute. The sweetest thing, and I just needed that. So after she left, I put myself together, wiped my tears away. I went inside the toy area, or the play area, and I got my kids, and we ended up coming home, and I put them to bed, and I cleaned. I indulged in cleaning. Sorry, my kids are downstairs playing with the lights, I guess. But I cleaned and I just felt like if I was sitting still, all I was thinking about was my baby that I just lost. So I just cleaned and took care of my kids. And then we had church that evening, and I wasn't really wanting to go because I didn't want to be around people. I didn't want them to be asking me if I was okay, because then I knew that I would break down. But then I started thinking about it, and I was like, well, you know what? I need to go and hear God's word. So I went and I went to church, and we got to be there and just hear the word. And sorry, my husband just walked in. Got to hear the word and just be with friends and good food, and just that's something I needed. I just needed to be with people. I didn't want to be alone, and I just wanted to be in the Lord's house because that's something that I felt like I needed. I learned that if I look to God, it's not so hard. There are worse things in life. I love you too. I know there's worse things in life than what I'm going through now. It's not the easiest thing by any means. And the emotion that goes along with it is just something that I can't even explain. And those of you that have suffered loss know what I'm talking about, because it's obviously you're not happy. But when I had sensed something was wrong with my pregnancy, so I prayed twice as hard for this baby than I did with my other pregnancies. And I don't know what it was that made me think that there was something wrong, but I just had a feeling. And I was constantly praying. And so when I guess when I saw the blood and I heard the doctor say, it's gone, I wasn't necessarily relieved, but I kind of was in a sense, because then I knew, because it was one of those things that if my little sprout was to carry to term, what kind of abnormality or disability would he have had? I would have loved him no matter what. There's no doubt about that. I would have loved my child no matter how he or she came out. But it just, knowing that he got to skip this world, when the horrible things that are going on in this world, and just go straight to God, is something more of a blessing than me carrying this baby. It's not making sense coming out in words, but it makes sense in my head. But I know that one day I will be in heaven and I will get to see my little sprout. I've got 3 beautiful children here with me, and I've got children with God. So I can't wait to just see my children. I am beyond blessed. Like I said, I've got 3 beautiful children. I've got a wonderful husband who is very supportive and has been with me every step of the way. And he is the best thing that could have been for me these past few days. That and my children and just God. I've looked to him more these past few days, not for answers, but for oh, sorry, my son. Not to ask why, but to just for peace is what I needed. I needed peace. Say hi.
Hi.
This is my son Cooper. He's my baby. So I think that because I am a Christian, I see things a little bit differently. And for that I am very grateful. It doesn't... Are you a cat? I don't think that this has been any easier for me, but I do know that God is with me, and I have so many blessings right here with me right now, even this cute little cat. And I can't be any more grateful than what I am right now. So even though my womb is empty, my heart is completely full. It is full of love and laughter and yeah. So that being said, this week has been a struggle, but I've had great people in my life, and I've had the good Lord to help me get through this. There's been a lot going on with the holidays and telling our family that we no longer have the baby growing in our stomach. That's hard. But I know that one day God will provide and bless us with another beautiful little child. And when that day comes, we will accept it and be more than happy. And we will never regret the experience that we're going through now together. And we will continue to grow in each other and continue to grow in God. And for that, I am truly grateful. If you have anything that you want to say, any questions that you want to ask, I will answer whatever you ask. If you need any advice